NASCAR's longest race and NASCAR's Memorial Day Classic is the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tuesday at Darlington, Kevin Harvick earned his second victory of the season. And we head to the second of 3 stops at Charlotte. After this, there won't be a stop till the playoffs, race 5, or the new race in the round of 12. I'm sorry. So, as of right now, there are 3 drivers that are taking that are in a 3-way tie for that number 1 seed in playoff standings. Several drivers, big name drivers no less, are still looking for their first win of the year. Guys like Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, among some of those. Let's go qualify for this race. 80 laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Typically, the Coca-Cola 600 is the longest race on the circuit. And typically is a race where we honor the heroes that have defended this great nation. A lap at Charlotte Motor Speedway begins coming out of Turn 4 into the Tri-Oval, which is modeled after Atlanta Motor Speedway and Texas Motor Speedway. Build up as much speed as possible before diving off into Turn 1. Now, as the night wears on and this track changes, several drivers are going to start inching their line up. They might see if they can run the top lane if there's any grip on the racetrack. There might be some drivers in the middle. We're currently arcing towards the middle lane, leaving the bottom sort of open. And after this one lap, we are 16th. See if we can improve here. And it looks like we're doing just that. After kind of clipping the apron off of 2. And we'll let the car roll through the corner. This will put us 16th on the grid. Probably our worst qualifying effort so far. Matt Kenseth is the pole winner for this race, by the way. And at exactly lap 40 tonight, and as soon as that lap begins, we will observe a 5-lap moment of silence to remember those that have lost their lives defending their freedom. Every day that their sacrifice does not go unnoticed. As we look at our top 10, our fast 10, Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson are on the front row. Tony Stewart, Greg Biffle are in row 2. Greg Biffle is another driver that is looking for his first win of the year. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Carl Edwards in row 3. Brad Keselowski, Jeff Gordon in row 4. And Casey Kane and Martin Truex Jr. in row number 5. See, we're starting next to Kyle Busch. He is another one of those drivers that is looking for a win to get himself into the playoffs. But for now, the field is in the hands of Matt Kenseth as we are underway at Charlotte. Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart have cleared the feet, have gotten single file as we begin our first lap. As Dylan Norway had to really back out of a hornet's nest off of turn 2. Which with 80 laps typically with your more endurance races, I could honestly see a lot of drivers really save their stuff at the start compared to the Lincoln Welders 300 that was ran here a few weeks ago. Because that race was shorter in kilometers, but still was an 80-lap race. But you can clearly see with the more green flag runs that we had, the longer this race went on, as everybody went straight to the bottom. Or probably the first 20 cars as Dylan Murray makes some headway. Going to end right. Can he get by Logano for 15th? He has the spot. Matt Kenseth is your early leader here in the Coca-Cola 600. As the field is starting to kind of shake itself out a little bit. As Dylan Murray is even faster than his previous lap. The top 14 are all single file. I think depending on how things go, we could see pit stops in probably the next 6 or 7 laps. Dylan Murray trying to suck back the 56 at Truex. And keep it on the bottom. Jeff Gordon trying to maybe move around the 55 of Mark Martin. Tucks right back in line. The 24 was fast in the day race at Charlotte, the Lincoln Welders 300 previously. Kind of shuffled outside the top 10. Kyle Busch started 15th. He's up inside the top 10 in front of the 29 of Harvick. As Dylan Murray trying to look on, maybe peek under the 24 of Gordon. He may get the spot into turn 1. He will move Dylan Murray up to 12th. Matt Kenseth still is your early leader here in the Coca-Cola 600. Dylan Murray he's charging that corner. Trying to look for something to get maybe a little bit of momentum going on the bottom. You can obviously tell. When someone's charging like they are. Dylan Murray he's already getting 2, 3. He's got a lot of momentum going on his side. As Dylan Murray started 16th, fell to 20th on the initial start. Kind of took a while for his car to get going, if you will. Since then, he is now the fastest car on the racetrack, running 30 flat times. Casey Kane moving down for 9th. He's had some success here in the Coke 600. He was the 2012 winner of this race. Battling with Hamlin late as Dylan Murray gets way out of the groove. Bit of a scramble off 2. Somehow everyone's still green between those 3 cars, and believe it or not, that was not a wreck. As Mark Martin goes around, don't know if he hit anything there. He did save it. We are still green after that little initial stack up. Matt Kenseth is still your early leader. Here in the 600, I think he may be pitting here shortly. And Dylan Roy will be doing the same. Add some tape to the car. Make it a little faster on starts. Green flag pit stops already beginning in the first stage of this race. Your pit crews are going to. This is a endurance race for NASCAR, so your pit crew is going to be fairly tired by the time this race is over. I predict that. Several cars leaving pit road. Looks like Dylan Roy will exit with Jeff Gordon. Eric Amarola is your leader during this cycle of green flag stops. Jimmy Johnson was the winner in the Lincoln Welders 300 a few weeks ago. Everybody was looking at him being strong tonight. He started on the front row in this race. Believe it or not. As Johnson and Jr. are fighting for positions. Or they're drafting with each other, and it looks like Matt Kenseth might take a little cycle with the lead here. Tony Stewart and Greg Biffle are second and third as we speak. Typically, again, you usually see a lot of these guys try to save their stuff because you don't want to tear it up too early. Otherwise, it could be a long night for you in the pits. Dylan Murray getting a lot of power down to that car. Him and Dale Jr. racing side by side. Dylan Murray peeling under Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart. He could get the lead right here. Matt Kenseth is stuck behind McDowell as a pick. McDowell moves to the bottom. Kenseth his speed up top. Kenseth takes the lead off of 2. Dylan Murray and Matt Kenseth racing each other for the lead. Dylan Murray takes it, and depending on how things go, Kenseth might fade back. However, he may have a shot taking it back because there's 2 lap cars in front of him, none of Dylan. That could really play a factor into how things play out. Two more cars a lap down. Let's go ahead and I know typically most of you people watching this are probably outside grilling and having a good old summer evening. Let's go ahead and crank up those stereos if you got a little outside setup and crank it up. in this second stage, that theory I said about saving your stuff is proven quite fast. Dylan Murray is laying down blistering fast lap speeds, while Matt Kenseth, who's sitting in second, is saving his stuff for the long haul because compared to the two, Kenseth's equipment would be a lot more reliable at the end for him having a shot at a win, while unless there's a major issue with the 25, Dylan Murray could also have a shot if you start getting a ton of cautions, which we've run the first 21 laps of this race under green. We're working lap 22 now. Well, sorry, 23. And as the night goes on, this track will change as if we get any more caution flags.
What's your fuel? You ready to dive in here, buddy? Come on, man. You have to pit this lap. You having fun out there?
Dylan Murray has ran his car a little warm, as his temperature is currently 206. Engine temperature is currently 206 or 205, which is unusual. But then again, all the speeds and probably all that dirty air at the start of the race that he was in really didn't help much in the way of issues. But next time, bud. Next time, bud. All right, right here. Real straight. Dylan Murray continues to dominate as he run this first and probably second part of this race. Green flag pit stops are beginning as we speak. Matt Kenseth has taken the lead back as Dylan Murray begins his pit stop. Jeff Gordon comes out. Dylan Murray comes in. Dylan Murray coming back out. In eighth, Kenseth is taking his car to pit road. And Eric Almirola is your leader as we speak. Depending on how things play out, he may try to run the car out as much as he can. Matt Kenseth is in second. There are several cars exiting pit road. Depends on how cleanly they merge. As we're running the first 27 laps of this race under green, and the caution has come out just as I said that, probably for an incident on the backstretch. And it involves Matt Kenseth having some issues merging as he comes right in front of Sam Hornish as the caution comes out. So this throws a big wrench in the way this race plays out. Possibly some strategy here. Keep in mind, this was in the middle of a green flag cycle. is Eric Amarola and David Gilliland are also second and third. Gilliland has not, Amarola did not pit. Gilliland has. As Dylan Miller pulls away here. As Dylan Murray is pulling away from David Gilliland as we speak. Several cars. Gilliland is almost 2 seconds back, even though in line Dale Jr. is technically a second car. However, he was shuffled around due to the way the caution came out in the middle of that pit cycle. Dylan Murray continues to pull away. Greg Biffle is now taking the second spot. Dale Jr. is second in line. He is running 24th. And depending on if the way the caution falls, if we get another caution, depending on how they fall, we he could be in position for a wave around here. Gordon hard into the wall, the corner there. No further issue. As Greg Biffle definitely closes in quite a bit that time. He's and a little over a second after that issue. As Greg Biffle is a second and a half back in second. And depending on how the yellow comes out, on how things play out here, if there's another issue, the cars that just passed us, past the leader, could be getting the wave around if a caution were to come out. And at this point, with the way this racing has been, it wouldn't be a matter of if. Wouldn't be a matter of when. It'd be a matter of if. Because other than Matt Kenseth coming in front of Hornish and those two getting together in turn 3, we haven't had a lot of crashing. We haven't had any crashing, basically. See Dylan Murray trying to look for a clean path around these next group of cars. Maybe, hopefully get a caution. One of them could hope to get a caution. And it looks like Dylan Murray will be coming in right here in the pit. Eric Almirola takes the lead in this cycle of green flag stops. Folks, typically Memorial Day is a sobering time to reflect, to give thanks to those who have defended our freedoms overseas and defended our freedoms at home. These next 5 laps will be run in silence to observe those who have fallen and give and respect those defending our freedoms today. The 5 laps start right now.
It's all you now, buddy. Okay, let's get back in that rhythm. Let's go get these boys. You're a lap down. Lucky dog. You're the lucky dog. Race hard, man. Race hard. Keep digging. That's it, dude. Every position is more points. Way to go, buddy. You're holding fast the time right now. Right's clear. Car in front, heading to the pit. Clear left. Looking really good early here. Right's all clear, bud. Stay down. Nice lap. Much faster. You got the fastest car out there right now. Nice and smooth. You're way out in front. Use that clean air. That's it. Come around. Move in low. Clear right side.
Every day, we remember those who have died protecting this country and those who still live on fighting for our freedoms overseas. As we said in Countdown previously, drivers that were strong at the beginning, like Matt Kenseth, they were just put a lap down by Dylan Murray, who just cracked the high 29s in terms of lap times, and he's even faster. He has a 14-second lead over Greg Biffle, and that lead continues to grow. We've had 1 caution just for 2 laps earlier today for Matt Kenseth and Sam Hornish. Matt Kenseth seemed to recover, but he is currently 1 lap down as we speak. Dylan Murray and Greg Biffle are currently the stronger cars right now. as he continues to lap some more drivers. Currently, we have 11, about to be 10 cars on the lead lap. Trevor Bain in the 21 car just went a lap down. And Regan Smith is going to be fighting for his life to stay on the lead lap. So we're down to 8 cars on the lead lap. And that lead number continues to grow. 31 laps to go in tonight's Coca-Cola 600 in a race that has only had one caution. Dylan Murway has set a blistering pace that continues to get quicker each lap.
You ready, buddy? We're low on fuel.
Little cars going off the pit road during green flag stops.
3-0. We want to finish this lap. We need our car to be right. 10-4. Nice and smooth. You're way out in front. Use that clean air.
In fact, the way this race has been, we could and probably would see at least a couple more rounds of green flag pit stops before today's race is over.
Don't get fast on pit road, buddy. NASCAR's watching. Let's go. Get plenty of fuel in there. We want to get some fresh tires on that thing. We're
So,
ready when you are, pal.
bit of a radio issue there. The crew chief, Dylan Murway, pulling into pit road as we speak. He has a 30-second lead during green flag stops. Greg Biffle falls a lap down, at least falls a couple laps down at this point. Dylan Murway coming back out
Way to go, boys.
after that green flag stop. He is falling to 7th
Stay focused. We can do this.
or 8th as we speak. Again, only one caution for 2 laps so far tonight. Eric Amarola is your leader during this cycle of stops. He's had a strong car tonight so far, running Richard Petty colors for this race, promoting the Richard Petty driving experience. At 43. Meanwhile, Dylan Murway is making his way, trying to make the lead back up. He's got a couple more cars getting ready to pit. Clint Boyer, Dale Earnhardt Jr. There are 2 cars that peel off.
Just keep a good pace. You're doing good.
As Mears gets a little squirrely. In all honesty, we've only had one caution, and other than that, we have ran nonstop.
Inside's clear. Full second you wait for the driver in front.
Dylan Murray continuing to try to make up some time. David Gillen is in 2nd, and the lead continues to show. Rink. And that's a caution.
Caution's out. Back her down.
Just got loose and kind of kissed the wall. Dylan Murway saved the car. Somehow he's still running. Definitely cleaner than other races like Darlington back on Tuesday. So 2 cautions for 5 laps. Everyone pitted. Dylan Murway did not. And a lot of cars are taking the waiver out. This restart could be wild. You got Austin Dillon, Eric Almirola, and David Gilliland. Dylan Murray is the only car that previously pitted. This ought to be fun. Austin, no, into the wall goes Harvick, and we got a big time crash. Multiple cars involved as Austin Dillon has a problem, and you got several top running cars piling up in turn one. David Stremme is in it. Greg Biffle is in it. Martin Truex is in it. Kevin Harvick is in it. Jeff Gordon may have gotten a small piece of that. Scott Speed checks up behind. He runs Montoya into the wall. And we got all kinds of... They're still crashing here in turn two. Landon Castle gets turned into the wall off the side of Kyle Busch. Jeff Gordon and Casey Kane are also collected. Jeff Burton's in it. Ryan Newman, Denny Hamlin, and many more. Austin Dillon slows up, touches Harvick, hammered by Nemechek and Stenhouse, and everyone piles in. Ooh, wow. Someone flew in there incredibly hard. By the way, Josh Wise got the lucky dog out of that. This top five just got interesting. Landon Castle is moving into third. And another caution comes out. We got another crash in turn two. This time it is Brad Keselowski and Jeff Burton. And everybody tries to check up and avoid, but gets into and out of camp. Eric Almirola takes the lead off turn two with Landon Castle in second. Matt Kenseth, who was part of that first yellow early in this race, has made his way back up into the fourth spot, back up into the conversation, if you will. Dylan Murray is going to break ankles and possibly clip Almirola for the lead as Dylan slides through pit road into the wall. Off of the front bumper of Almirola. Well, he's got it coming. And he saw how fast he sped off. He is not happy. Honestly, you probably wouldn't if you got wrecked like that. As we get ready for... And remember what I said earlier in this race, we were running a blistering pace? Well, we had 4 straight back-to-back cautions.
Let's go to work, boys. Here
Juan Pablo Montoya and Kurt Busch are on the front row for this restart.
Nice job, boys. Great pit stop. Doing great, buddy. That pit stop will make all the difference.
Dylan Norway probably won't be too happy with Amarola after this race, after that little incident. Because look who he sees in his crosshairs. Right in front of Kenseth. Another caution this time off turn 2, and it is for Greg Biffle. Oh, right in the Nemechek. Newman piles into the wall. Regan Smith is in it as well.
Clean up truck. I'm going to meet you to go out.
Look who's behind Eric Amarola, Dylan Murway, and I bet you he remembers that little incident. What I bet you, but the question is, yeah, I bet you he remembers. Brad Keselowski leads this race. And Regan Smith is over the wall, and we're probably going to have another caution here very shortly. Nemechek peels off. Dylan Murray charging the corner, trying to stay in Amarola's wake. Keselowski is your leader. And three wide in the middle, 3 wide mid, 3 wide. Good. And Dylan Murray was pushing him for a second. And into the wall hard, and into the air goes Amarola. And someone else flew into the air. That is Biffle. Now we're talking. Amarola with a barrel roll in the air on his side. Nice little pirouette there, and somehow out of all this, he's in third. Ten to go when we get the green. Oh, crash up in front. Kurt Busch and Tony Stewart get driven into the wall. We stay green. Keselowski and Jr. get together off 2. Jeff Burton, whose last win came here in 2008, looking to break a long winless streak as Clint Boyer saves it. As they're looking for another incident, I believe. Somehow they all saved it. As we begin the final round of green flag stops, Austin Dillon comes to lead, taking over Clint Boyer's old ride in the 33. As Robbie Gordon's into the wall for the 8th time tonight. A hard shot there and almost came into the path of Kloppel.
I've got a clean-up truck and a vacuum truck out on the racetrack cleaning it up.
Question is, with the way this race suddenly became, with friggin' 7 cautions in the second half, does it come down to fuel? Even though most of these cars are on pit road, would fuel become an issue possibly? With 8 to go in the Coke 600, everybody wanting to win in that race. Fuel could be an interesting topic of discussion here as we get ready for this next restart. Greg Biffle is your leader. 6 to go. Greg Biffle leads him down for the restart. Green flag back into the air. Two into the wall up ahead. Several into the wall. And another caution. One car flew into the air. Looked like, I couldn't tell it was a black Chevy. No, it was someone flew into the air there. So that's the 9th caution flag. Four to go. 4-lap sprint to the finish here at Charlotte. David Gilliland, Kevin Harvick. Could Kevin Harvick go for his 3rd win? He's got speed on the outside. Nope. Doesn't have a lot of help. Maybe he gets the lead off 2. Big stack up. Several cars coming off of pit road, onto pit road, including Kevin Harvick, who would pit with 4 to go. He was not going to make it. 3 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the lead. Junior Nation rejoice. Kyle Busch gets tipped into the wall. We do stay green. As Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes off turn 4, he will see 2 laps to go this time. Dylan Murray trying to get all he can, unless there's a caution, which at this point remains highly unlikely as Dale Jr. makes his way down the backstretch. Kurt Busch is in 2nd as Jr. has this race in hand. As he comes off turn 4, the white flag will wave here at Charlotte. Kurt Busch is too far back to do anything, so until then, he's got a 3-car fight for 2nd between Dylan Murray, Kurt Busch, and Austin Dillon. Dillon charges it in deep. As there's a wreck in 3, Dillon gets loose, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. will win at Charlotte as we got a big cluster behind. Dylan Murray will come home tonight in 5th. Oh boy. 9 caution flags slowed this race. We had one yellow in the first half total. And then the second half is when madness ensued. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins tonight at Charlotte. Kurt Busch is 2nd. Austin Dillon finishes 3rd. Looking through the rest of the field. Nemechek finishes 9th. With another good run for him, David Gilliland finishes 10th, inching closer and closer to that top 30 requirement for those two. Josh Wise, 11th. Danica Patrick, 13th. And then the interesting people. Jeff Gordon ends up finishing 28th. Greg Biffle ends up finishing 23rd. Carl Edwards ends up 30th. Denny Hamlin, 33rd. Kyle Busch, having a late issue, ends up 39th. And you look through the rest of the field. Tony Stewart and Kevin Harvick pitted with 4 to go. So they've earned their finish. So tune in next Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, for the running of the FedEx 400 at Dover, benefiting Autism Speaks. Have a good night, everybody.